Mhm. I'm looking at myself in the stream, and I think my glasses are super reflective. Look at that.
Oh my god, they are.
And it looks
Wow.
like the teams are ready for Pro Draft. Let's go. All right, so the Twisted Fate coming out. I don't think Shapov's going to be changing any of their bans.
Yeah.
I wonder what
Uh,
Scaling's going to respond with.
you know, last time we saw it was a really quick Lucian ban first. Hecarim is the first ban. Hecarim was a huge issue that game. They really don't want to be going against the dive. Galio gets banned as well. Same bans from Shapov so far. Shen the third one, exact same bans.
Just
Uh,
rapid fire.
yeah, just get these globals out of here. They don't want to have those influencing bot lane champions at all. Last ban is coming in from scaling.
I think they need
Um,
to ban a bot laner here. They can't do the same thing they did last time with the jungler and two mids.
yeah, I'm tending to agree with you. We'll see. I'd be hoping for a Senna ban here.
Oh,
Akali
the
is the
Akali
same
again.
ban.
Interesting.
Um,
I feel like Senna first pick or possibly Caitlyn. I'm not sure about Scaling's champ pool that they probably could play either Senna or Caitlyn. Maybe they're opting to try and take one of those.
mm,
That could be something that's happening here. Let me see what
definitely a
Shapov's gonna pick. Senna, yeah.
Senna is the first pick. I think that's a very smart first pick because that also pigeonholes or that kind of pigeonholes scaling into picking the Caitlyn now. If Shapov gets that back, then it's gonna be
Yeah,
hell to pay. Caitlyn does get picked up by the side of scaling with the Morgana. I think that's very
that's
good.
yeah.
Morgana does well into Senna.
It's a very
Um,
nasty lane. Being able to combo just the Morgana root and the Caitlyn trap, as well
yeah,
as Caitlyn being a mobile champion. Like I said before, Leggy has a lot of hyper carry potential, and Caitlyn is definitely a pretty good hyper carry. And just having mobility on your ADC makes it so much easier to just mechanically outplay ganks and be able to change the tide of team fights just from that mobility, being able to dodge skill shots, get into range if you need to, and just allows the Caitlyn to 1v5.
mm. As the Jin gets paired alongside the Senna, that's not too surprising. We've Jin is one of the champions, one of the few champions like Ashe that is able to compete with the Caitlyn in lane. Not quite as high range, but he has the W, has the Q, can definitely survive if he needs to. Ornn gets picked up by Shapov. Once again, not all that surprising. I think Ornn did them very well last game, being able to pick the engage, and it looks like scaling is gonna be the last pick. I'm expecting a mid laner or a jungler here. Oh, it
Top
looks
lane,
like they
okay,
actually went the
Maokai.
opposite direction with the Maokai, and scaling their comp this game looks pretty similar to how it did last game with the very front to back team comp so far.
It's interesting that they didn't go set here. Um, or even that they picked their top lane here despite not knowing the jungle. I guess they just wanted like a tanky, safe top laner, possibly just so that the coop doesn't die so much. Maybe that's why they went the Maokai because he's hard to gank, he has good sustain, and then his team fighting is really nice with that ult.
Mm.
Um, yeah, it's very interesting seeing that coming out instead of opting to go for a jungle or a mid. But we'll see what happens as Scaling and Shapov going into bans. So they ban the Swain and Katarina away from the mid laner. And then we
Mm.
see Malzahar banned on the side of Shapov fan club. Let's see what they ban next. But it looks like this bottom lane is going to be very interesting. So Caitlyn has some good mobility and has some good range. The Senna and Jin, however, is kind of like a similar story to the Caitlyn and Senna lane that we saw last game, where it's a lot of high range and then a lot of combo CC, a lot of good damage, good burst. So, but now we have Scaling has a mobile champion with better range, so maybe they'll be able to play safer. I think it really depends on what the jungle picks are going to be here to see if Scaling will get so far behind like they did last game. A
Oh, and
Kane
the
coming out.
Kane picked. If Wes is watching the stream, I know Wes just popped off a little bit. Loves the
Let's
Kane.
go.
Let's go. Definitely an interesting pick. It's let's see if he ends up going blue or red for him this game. It could go either way depending on the next two picks, but definitely more of a traditionally solo queue type champion. So I'm interested to see what Quinn can do with this thing.
Hmm. So Greg is coming out, so that's pretty good at diving. They might be looking to do the same story with the Hecarim, just trying to get those nasty dives off. The Greg Assault is also really good in team fights to just disperse their entire team and try and maybe split up the fight. Because when scaling gets split up, it's very hard for them because they just funnel all their damage onto Caitlyn. It's very hard for them to team fight properly if they're all in different spots. And looking like Yasuo mid. So the
Oh,
Yasuo
that
Gragas combo, as
the
well as the Ornn
Yasuo
combo.
that definitely gonna be some spicy plays. Does make sense. Does make sense to me. Yasuo, there's not really a champion on scaling that's gonna be able to pin down Yasuo all too well, except for maybe the Maokai. But LeBlanc, in response to the Yasuo, uh, scaling did end up picking this roaming mid laner, but they might not even have to roam. It's gonna be a bloody mid lane with LeBlanc for Yasuo there.
Just that 2v2 from Shapov fan club is definitely a lot better than the 2v2 from scaling. And
Mm.
then I feel like Shapov has the better team fighting this draft, to be honest. I don't see how Scaling's team fighting could be better than Shapov's. It really just depends on the early game in this one, I think, to see who can get ahead.
Yeah, both these teams are able to finish out games very easily. Both of them have a lot of engage, they have a lot of siege, they have a lot of pick potential. So I think the name of the game is really who can get ahead early and just snowball harder. Because neither of these teams have a lot of catch up mechanics on them.
And it looks like Scaling is not going their traditional team comp of funneling the ADC. It really seems like they're going for a more assassin style dive comp, like Maokai, LeBlanc, even Kane, just trying to dive to their backline because if you're able to get on Senna and Jin right on top of them, then you probably can wipe them pretty quickly and then from that win the team fight. So it could be that it was really annoying playing against that high range poke last game, and they're trying to really switch up their whole team comp and go for a more dive centered comp.
Yeah, I think you're definitely right. Um, Looking in, are you giving the draft advantage to Shapov Fan Club, or are you thinking that Scaling's Assassin comp is going to be able to make the difference in this one?
Um, it's really hard to say. If I just kind of if I think of it just from draft to draft, it just looks like the synergy on Shapov is just that much better. Um, Even like say Maokai and LeBlanc try to dive in, like all it takes is like a Gragas ult and then a combo on top of that Yasuo, and they just lose that team fight. So I feel like it is possible to assassinate the back line, but I think I'd give the edge over to Shapov fan club here. But it also really depends on who is ahead in lane. um, it really depends on like what pathing these junglers take. Is Shapov going to be focusing all around the map, bot and top? Is Scaling going to focus just bot again? Who's going to get ahead? Who's going to get fed? I think that's really what's gonna shape out the game here.
Yeah, I think you're definitely right. So we thought maybe we'd see a level one invade last game, and we did, forcing the Flash out of the Ash. But if there's ever a game for early aggression, it's definitely going to be this game.
Hmm. Yeah, there was definitely a lot of back and forth fighting last game. I feel like we're gonna see the same, if not more, of fighting just to try and get some type of lead on either side.
Mm. I do really like this like adaptation from scaling. You know, last game they were going for these team fights, but they weren't really able to find a lot of good team fights. When they did, they worked out fine. But a lot of the early game was very skirmish focused, and so scaling kind of just leaned into it, and they said, you know what? If you want to skirmish us, sure, we'll take that. Kane is good in skirmishes, so is LeBlanc. That being said, Greg is Yasuo, as you were saying, is is one of the strongest 2v2 late 2v2 kind of comps you can have. So Shapov scaling might have played right into Shapov fan club's hands in this one.
Yeah, it's really hard to ignore that in the team fight, to be honest. Like, and then on top of that, also just like 2v2 like that is way better than LeBlanc and Kane, I think. And then when you think about mid to late game team fights, when you factor in Ornn's ult, and Ornn's ability to just keep people knocked up for like 5 seconds. It's it's really tough for for scaling to pull off their dive comp, or even to like have their Caitlyn survive all of that, because Gragas can just throw his ult out, Ornn can just throw his ult out from a super long range, and Yasuo ults on top of that, and then that's essentially a team fight won.
Mm. They do have the Morgana Black Shields. Though, if Gragas builds this AP, then it's not going to matter. It's just going to one
Yeah.
shot the shield and not prevent the knockup. So it's going to be a lot onto Alex Dirty, in order to be able to mitigate some of the knockups and make sure that his Caitlyn isn't too vulnerable. But that's going to be a hard task ahead of him for sure.
Yeah, I feel like scaling just has so many things they need to focus on in the team fights. Like there isn't one thing that they can do. They need to focus on Yasuo trying to get the Maokai Morgana to root him so he can't ult. Needs to Black Shield the Caitlyn so that Gragas doesn't one-shot her and knock her up. Needs to Black Shield her also for Ornn ult. Needs to make sure that Gragas can't get on Caitlyn. Needs to make sure that Ornn can't get on Caitlyn. And then on top of all of that, Scaling's assassins need to try and get on their backline while Senna and Jhin are just shooting away. They need to try and assassinate that while all this other stuff is happening with Shapov Fan Club. I feel like Scaling has a lot on their plate. I
Yeah.
feel like the only chance they have is if someone on their team just gets super fed. If Caitlyn gets super fed or LeBlanc starts one-shotting everyone, that might be their only shot to really win this game.
Yeah, it's going to be a lot. We haven't talked about them too much, but LeBlanc and Kane are against two immobile AD carries and supports. And it doesn't look like they're going to have a lot of appeal because generally you want to keep the Yasuo, Gragas, Ornn together.
Mm-hmm.
So it's gonna be I think a lot on the mid laner and jungler of scaling to see if they can get these backline assassinations off. Because if they can, if they can have some good synergy, if they can time their engages well and both go in and hit the backline at the same time, then Shapov Fan Club is going to be looking in a rough shape because Jhin and Senna aren't going to last long against LeBlanc Kane.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that just kind of falls back to like if you can pull that off, you still have to worry about Gragas and Yasuo and Ornn.
Yeah.
And so the Yasuo, like the Shapov fan club, they have like three big sources of damage with the Senna and Jhin, and then also Yasuo, four if you include Gragas. Like it's hard to just do like one thing again. Like even if you can manage to kill that Senna and Jhin with your Kayn and LeBlanc, meanwhile your Gragas and Yasuo's terrorizing the rest of your team.
Yeah.
And the Ornn can, if the Ornn plays right and positions well in the backline, can really peel for the Sen and Jhin pretty well, but also you're a tank, so it is hard to just be in the backline. So I feel like Scaling might be able to get some pretty good picks because Sen and Jhin can't move. Jhin probably will take cleanse again, but they can't really move. They do have a lot of root and peel, but when you're an assassin, it is easy to get past that. And it
Mm.
looks like the spectator delay is over. There's just so much to analyze just off that draft. Like this game is definitely going to be really crazy.
Mm.
So I think we're in loading screen now. Going to switch on over. Let's reverse these bad boys. Shapov
Can
Fan
you
Club's
do
on blue side.
can you do me a favor as well and just stream
Oh
for me,
yeah, yeah.
Dins? Thank you
Yes,
very
yes,
much.
yes.
As
Of
we're
course.
as we're getting into game, it is interesting. Kingsland is taking a different rune than he did last game.
Glacial.
They were, yeah, glacial. Last game he went the grasp and then into black cleaver build. This one he's going for the glacial, really meaning that they are going to look for these little. He's trying to get every little last bit of peel that he can for the Jhin. As we do load into game, I'll take it away on the side of scaling. We have the Coop in the top lane, Quinn in the jungle, Puke Lord in the mid lane, Leggy in the bot lane, and Morgana on the support.
And then
Alex,
on the side of Shapov Fan Club, we have Reese's Pieces on the Ornn in the top lane, and then in the jungle we have Zohair on Gragas. In the mid lane we have Miss You Stepper on Yasuo. In the ADC we have No Cap, Only Gap on Jhin, and in support we have a Kingsland on Senna.
Oh, and look at this. Shapov Fan Club and Scaling both going for some cheeky level 1 invades. They are going to miss each other on opposite sides of the map. Um,
That's a
but
bit unfortunate.
yeah, maybe a little. Maybe that means it's going to be a little bit of vertical jungling this game if they can steal their respective buffs away from each other.
Yeah, and that just means that scaling really needs to watch out, because if their jungle is top the entire time, that means that Shapov's jungle is going to be bot the entire time. So Zohair is probably going to go for some pretty dirty dives. He could gank from the bush near the tier 1 tower of red side and just like go for some really cheeky dives there. There's a lot of potential for ganks from this Gragas early on. So it's going to be hard for, once again, for scaling to stop those ganks if we see that vertical jungling come out.
Mm, yeah,
Looks like
and I
still some
do.
cheekiness here.
So they
Forcing
go
the
into
flash
Reese's
out of
Pieces.
Ornn.
You know, if Quinn is gonna stay topside with a little bit of vertical jungling, then it's probably really good to have the Reese's Pieces on Ornn burn flash on the top side. So well played to him. But as I was saying before, I think this might be the first time I've ever seen a Caitlyn take Doran's shield. Not even that it's bad, just really respecting the Senna and how much of a nightmare Senna can be, even to a longer range AD carry. Um, just trying to survive this lane phase as much as possible with the Morgana.
Yeah, and like we said in draft, it looks like Jhin is going cleanse. So it looks like both these ADCs are really trying to respect the CC from the other team and the ganks from the other team. Yeah, that Doran's shield is definitely a good pickup just because of how much poke and how much range these laners have. And it looks like some early game Kayn is trying to go in on Gragas. He's managed to take the blue buff. And it looks like Kayn is going to be going down first.
Oh, a little bit over aggressive. Didn't realize that Miss You Step Bro had the priority on the rotation as he flashes in, and we just saw there another flash coming out from Alex Dirty to get him out of a sticky situation in the bottom lane. So little bit early over aggressive from Quinn. Miscommunication for sure, but that's exactly what you don't want to have happen is the Yasuo going up 1-0 in the first 3 minutes of the game.
Yeah, it's very tough. The Kayn decided not to just split the map and do vertical jungling, and decided to try and contest his blue. He lost his blue, and then despite the Yasuo having priority, he tried to keep fighting the Gragas and just got rotated on. Jhin having to burn flash here, but he's going in, goes for the root, gets through onto Morgana, comboed with some more damage, forcing the heal out, manages to get out. The Caitlyn's walking up a bit, trying to keep autoing, keep fighting. Oh, and the Senna gets the root, but it's blocked by the spell shield. The Caitlyn keeps going. Caitlyn manages to get a little more damage. Looks like that trade looked a little better for scaling there. They managed to get cleanse out of Jhin. He still has his flash, and Kingsland still has flash heal, however. But the cleanse is something. Jhin is very poked out. If Kayn wasn't topside, they could have looked for a dive here, but just having those two laners poked out like this, you can at least get some good CS, deny them some CS, and this lane is looking just all right for scaling right now.
Yeah, scaling gonna have to look to capitalize in the coming lane phase. They did end up being a summoner spell down in that trade, but they have a huge amount of lane priority now, and no cap, only gap is really gonna struggle to back now, not wanting to go down this far on CS so early.
Yeah, exactly. That was really nicely played from the Caitlyn and the Morgana, being able to spell shield exactly when that root was coming, getting that cleanse out of Jhin. They could possibly look to set up a gank very soon bot lane. Jhin still doesn't have cleanse, however, they do have both flashes and they have heal. Just some trading going on top.
Yeah, a little bit of a wet noodle fight top lane, not expecting a lot of kills out of the Ornn Maokai. As I say that though, Quinn coming up, gonna go on to Reese's Pieces, 2 levels down, they're gonna throw everything on him. Zohair coming in from the backside, good double knock up. Stun up, forces the flash out of Ku, but Twisted Advance is going to come out, and it looks like that he's going to get away, only having to burn the flash. But once again, Zohair having Quinn's number, being there every time with a great counter gank continuing into game 2.
I feel like Quinn didn't know that Gragas was just right in his jungle at that point. Probably thought he was near his own jungle, and that's why he went for that play. But the Gragas was nearby and was able to follow up very, very quickly and counter gank. That could have been pretty bad for Reese's Pieces if Gragas wasn't right there. Getting
Yeah,
a root
absolutely.
onto Jin.
No cleanse on him. As is coming for a gank mid lane, Ignite goes down onto him. Miss You Step Bro looking low, is gonna force the flash out, but still level 3 on Quinn, 6 minutes in, very far behind, been ganking a lot already behind. He's almost half the CS of Zohair. So this game as well, not only is he being out pressured in jungle, he's also being out farmed as Quinn is forced to run away. Predator comes down on Zohair. Body Slam comes in, followed by the barrel, gets knocked up, and Quinn is going to go down 0-2 6 minutes. It's going to be a 2-0 Yasuo with 15 CS advantage. This Yasuo is looking mighty scary, especially when you pair it with the Gragas.
Yeah, this Kayn, it's not working out. I feel like he just made one early mistake that was a bit too ambitious, which was after he stole the blue, he tried to contest his own blue, and then he didn't get it. The Gragas still managed to secure it and died for it, so that just messed up his timing so much, and that's why he's so far behind. And then he went for another gank mid lane. He didn't end up getting the Yasuo, and he was still level 3. He just hasn't been able to farm early. And as I say that, it looks like Gragas is getting caught out in his own jungle. Kayn is able to hit 4 off that. Yasuo gets a nice ult onto the LeBlanc. He keeps going, but the TP from the Maokai is managing to save this fight. Maokai throws out his ult, but the Ornn is able to do too much damage, but he does end up dying for it. Are they going to look to overextend here? It looks like the Coop is in a bad position. LeBlanc tries to go forward to get something, just manages to survive. And Caitlyn is now here. Can she clean up this fight? She has flash, she has heal, she can follow, she managed to get the Jin. She's just going to take that and walk away.
Overall, good fight for Scaling. They got the TP in. I don't think they actually lost any members of that.
They lost Kayn
Quinn
early on.
Yeah, they lost the Kayn early on, but still overall good. 2-0. They're only 5k gold down as the game now goes on to Step Bro. Step Bro ease out. Flash comes from
Good
Quinn.
Flash from Kayn.
Nice outplay from Quinn on the Kayn. A little bit of a large misplay by Miss You Step Bro, staying so far up when they knew that the Coop was there on the bot side. And Coop, the last game, was feeding quite a few kills, and he's doing the same, except this time he's feeding them to his own team. So good TP and good ganks by the Coop so far this game.
And you touched on this a bit in draft, that the only thing that can lock down Yasuo on the side of Scaling is Maokai. But Yasuo, just because there's only one thing that can lock him down, you still need to respect that. Like, Maokai just has a point-and-click W that'll root you, and when you're rooted as Yasuo, there's not a whole lot you can do. And he can't block that with Spell Shield, so Yasuo really needs to be careful when Maokai's nearby. He knew that he was still around from that last team fight, and he just got picked for free. And just as I was saying that Quinn was falling behind, he picks up 2 kills and makes some great plays for his team. So it was looking like Quinn was going to be out of the game, but he is back in it, and so is Scaling.
Yeah, we can see the gold now is much more even. It actually looks like Scaling's a little bit in the lead. As Puke Lord and Quinn go onto the Yasuo, gonna get tagged up, get rooted. Lockup comes in, but unfortunately he's rooted, isn't able to get the ulti and shield refresh off, and what started out as a 2-0 Yasuo is quickly become a 2-2-1 Yasuo. Still does have the CS lead, but definitely not what you were wanting to see in terms of an early game snowball.
Yeah, once again, that was just beautifully executed from Scaling, managing to get that root, knowing that Yasuo would be rooted when the knockup hits, so you don't have to worry about his ult, and then just finishing him off. I feel like Miss You Step Pro feels like he can do a little too much than he can. He's not realizing that there's champs that can lock him down, and he can't just rely on the ult outplay.
You can see early he did end up going for the Berserker's Greaves and not the Murtrids like you might want to see against Morgana, Maokai, LeBlanc. So gonna do a little bit damage, but he's gonna have to play incredibly well if he just doesn't want to get locked down and shut down this game.
And it just makes those roots last so much longer, and with all the point and click Maokai being able to just follow him no matter where he goes, even if he ease all the way across the map, Maokai will follow him. And he can just be comboed with roots, and then when you're rooted and rooted and rooted, you cannot do anything as Yasuo. So I feel like he really did need to go that Merc Treads to really be a factor in this game.
Yeah, I agree. If he gets hit with the Maokai W, he's probably going to get hit with a Caitlyn trap and a Morgana Q. Like, he's almost for sure just going to get an AFK warning. As they go in, Senna ult comes in after the Jhin ult, and it is going to be a double heal. That was incredibly well coordinated by the side of Shapov Fan Club. I didn't even see that coming, and can see the maps on both sides.
Yeah, I saw Yasuo waiting in that bush here, and I was like, oh, are they going to go for something here? And as I say that, they're looking for even more, trying to catch the Kayn. He manages to get out, and it looks like Scaling is just going to pick up a free Infernal Drake. I was going to mention that after that team fight where Caitlyn got the kill, she didn't blow any sums, and she managed to blow both flashes and heal on the side of Shapov. However, it didn't end up mattering because just that Yasuo Gragas combo, they managed to rotate bottom and just get that amazing Gragas ult on top of a Yasuo ult, and then the Senna ult, you can't really block that with Morgana's spell shield, managing to get both kills. That was really well played from Shapov Fan Club.
Yeah. Yeah, no, absolutely. That was incredibly well coordinated. It's so hard to deal with this Gragas with Predator. There's not necessarily a lot of counterplay. He just literally runs at you and then you die. So there's gonna be a lot of vision control needed on the side of Scaling to make sure that they know where this Gragas is, and he can't just, run at them some more.
Yeah, Morgana's really going to have to watch her spell shield usage, especially if they feel like the jungler or the Yasuo is nearby, because you need to spell shield your ADC if they're nearby, so that doesn't happen.
Oh, as Zohair goes in, thirsting for Scuttle Crab a little bit, forcing to flash away, so that is going to be a flash advantage. That is, Gragas flash is very valuable, especially because he has the E flash and the Yasuo on his team. That is going to be one less cooldown that Scaling has to worry about. So, pretty minor misplay, but might have some implications in the next 5 minutes if they can capitalize on this flash to Gragas.
Yeah, that was not optimal, but it probably won't matter too much in the long run. I feel like the Drake isn't up. Looks like they're taking Herald here, so there isn't a whole lot to fight for. I don't expect a whole lot of action yet. However, Caitlyn still has no sum, so it looks like Gragas is bot side. I feel like we will see some type of gank in the next couple minutes bot lane. Yeah. It isn't great to blow your flash like that, but he didn't die. They got Scuttle, and now they get Herald. We'll see how Kayn converts that Herald, as it looks like he's going to look for the just at the edge of the knockup, gets the Yasuo, forces the flash out. He keeps going, ults into the Yasuo. LeBlanc is quickly following. The great wind wall blocking the damage and the root. He goes back in, gets a good ult, and shuts down the Kayn. Ornn ult is here, ready, misses anyone. However, the Maokai manages to go for the disengage. The root comes out. The Maokai could be picked here. LeBlanc is on the side, forcing Maokai to flash out. That was really well played from the Yasuo. That was such a great wind wall. If he did not wind wall that damage and root, he could have been dead there, but he managed to do it and turn it around with his ult. That was really well played and a good Senna ult.
Absolutely, but I do want to say that was such an overstep by Quinn. They had no vision on Zohair. They didn't know where anyone was, and they decided that they wanted to dive that deep. I think you're almost asking for it if you go that far in. And sure enough, they get punished for it. It's not all bad. They still do have the Rift Herald. They should be able to make a play. They can almost certainly get bot lane if he goes bot here. But really, just over-aggression has been the name for Quinn this game.
I feel like, yeah, he's kind of do or die in a lot of these times. Like, he tried early on, he was dying. Later on, he was really pulling off those plays, but I can understand the mentality. He flash queued, just got the Yasuo on the tip, and then Yasuo just flashes out. I can understand where he feels like, well, I just blew my flash. Like, I want to get this guy. Come on, like, let's go. Let's try and all in him. But he really went way too far. It was getting pretty close, but that was just such a nice wind wall. And you really do have to respect the fact that Yasuo can turn around and ult you.
Yeah,
And Quinn was just not respecting that.
Yeah, I don't blame him too bad. We've all been there before. As a dive comes in bot lane, 4v2, no gap is gonna go down. Zanya's go down. Alex already forced him to heal. Guardian and heal needed to be used. Kingsland stepping up a little bit is gonna get one shot by Puke Lord as O'Hare comes in, gets the ulti out. Rift Herald gets dropped. Zohair gets rooted up and dies. 3-0 on top of the bot lane tower. A little bit of good news if you're a fan of Shapov fan club. Stepbro was able to get the tower mid lane before that, as he is roaming down now. They should know he's coming though, as the Rift Herald charges. He's gonna go in 1v3, dodge the binding. Not gonna get CC just yet, as the Jhin ult comes down. Looks like Quinn's gonna be going down, unable to escape it. And as they get one back, but they take 2 towers for it.
And it looks like Yasuo's gonna keep going. I don't think Caitlyn gets out of this alive, despite him missing about 4 Qs. Oh, and the Senna looking for the ult, hits it, but just not enough damage. Wow, Shapov really responded well to that. They cracked the tier 2 tower, managing to get it down, but they ended up giving their lives for it. I really wonder if that was worth. And now they're able to convert that into a Drake. I feel like Scaling needed to back away from that tier 2 because they knew Yasuo took mid lane and they knew he would definitely be roaming down to bot lane to try and punish them, and that they had very low health and they had cooldowns on their ults. That was a bit of an overstay from Scaling after beautiful team fighting. And as I say that, it looks like Yasuo is trying to engage on the LeBlanc, manages to get her clone, gets away safe. Still there. Oh, that was the clone. Almost fooled me for a second there. I was
yeah,
a little
me
confused
too,
about
me
that.
too.
Yasuo is pretty pulled up. This is a 3-on-3, but
is
there's
over
2
the wall,
coming.
Windwall down. Alex Dirty just gets bursted though. Yasuo 5-2 with the Greg is already having a jungle item and Zork Shoes doing so much damage. We were talking about before how this 2v2 is strong, and they're strong inherently, especially strong when they're fed. Now going on to Reese's Pieces, stun coming locked up. Stun coming locked up, Ornalt coming in, hitting 3 Malkai's going down. Gragas ult comes in, but Quinn is just able to walk out after that. 2-0 so far. It's a 5v3 on the map, as Quinn is still stepping up to challenge, has to back up, respecting the Yasuo a little bit more, learning from his mistakes. That being said, you know, this game has just been, the series has been Shapov fan club stepping all over Scaling so far.
Yeah, I feel like this game, every time Scaling makes a play, they just overextend or they make a mistake and they get punished heavily for it. I think that's really been the tune of this series, is that Shapov is going to punish you very, very hard whenever you make a mistake, and Scaling is kind of just being a little too greedy in some of these engages.
Yeah, absolutely. Shapov fan club, if you give them an inch, they're just taking a mile every time. Scaling isn't even making 2 large misplays, just Shapov is able to capitalize on it so effectively that you really do have to play perfect against them.
Like even in that last engage, like Shapov is kind of showing Scaling what they need to be doing. They saw the Morgana was nearby. They knew it was a 3v4. However, they knew the Caitlyn and Maokai were on their way, so they took the 1 kill and they immediately left. That's the type of plays that Scaling needs to be making, looking for picks and then backing away. Once you get what you know you can get, if you know that like you're low or you blew all your ults and someone's rotating on you, you need to back off.
Yeah, they keep trying to force it too hard, a little bit overzealous on this. Maybe it's a little bit nerves coming up, as it looks like they're going to be fighting around the Rift Herald now. Stepbro is bottom lane, so it is going to be a 4v5 coming in, as they're doing a little bit of a Rift Herald down. So Maokai ult comes in on Zohair. It looks like they're going to be able to get farther away and not take the engage. Blast Cone gets popped, and Pukelor just has to go right back, as Reese's Pieces is stepped too far up without any tenacity. He's going to get locked up. Ornalty comes down, hits 2 on top of the Senna ulti.
Yeah, so
he's so tanky. On the bot side map, Putelor gets popped out. It looks like they're still going to keep chasing. Double Gragas ulti into the Yasuo ulti. Great combo. Jhin ulti comes down, going to pick up Reese's Pieces. This is going to be a team fight win for that. Then Pukelord is going to be able to take down Zohair. but it looks like this has Baron on the table as Stepbro comes up. Is surely going to take down Quinn here. Flashes out of the chains,
the red
goes
buff
into
killing him.
the... Ult gets taken down as he continues forward, takes the blast cone out as Misty Stepbro is still going to chase, but they're just going to peel back, go for Baron. They have four up. Gragas is respawning soon. A little bit of a risky Baron play, but that's the name of the game for Shapov Fan Club.
Yeah, there's just some crazy action going on. Shapov Fan Club is just taking over in that game. And that last team fight, scaling was completely split up. And like I was saying before, like this team comp from Shapov, there is just too much to worry about. Despite them trying to go all in on the Ornn. Oh, blue team got it. That was very close.
That was
they must
not what you want to see.
Shot for it. But yeah, like I was saying, there's just too much you need to worry about because they split up. They got the route onto the Ornn, but they almost got baited by it. Like when you're looking for picks, like that is something you get baited by, where you hit some CC on their tank and you think, okay, let's pick this guy quick. But you forget how long that tank can stay alive for, and that they have great control with their ults, because all Ornn had to do was press R, and he bought enough time for his Yasuo to come in and the rest of his team to come in. And because of that ult, and because of how they couldn't kill that Ornn, and scaling just had to spread apart, 2 of them going top, 2 of them going into their jungle, and then allowing Shapov to chase them down. Scaling doesn't win any 2v2s, any 3v2s. They were just allowed to pick them off in different places and completely wipe them there.
Yeah, and even now, this Yasuo is becoming more and more of a problem. He's got his, traditionally 07 power spike, where he's got the two double crit items. He's very tanky with the Death Dance, and on top of the Gragas damage, this guy is going to be such a monster to shut down. There's no exhaust on the side of scaling, and the scaling hasn't really been able to get a good 5v5 team fight to be able to lock this Yasuo down. So unless they make some serious adjustments, hard peel this Yasuo, he's just gonna run through their whole team. As I say that Pukelord gets stunned up, Flash comes out, Zhonya's comes in, Pukelord's gonna try to W away, but Q auto is gonna do it as TP's come in mid lane.
Looking for an engage, possibly just trying to save himself after that TP. That was not the best TP. Oh, Greg is getting a nice ult, managing to pick the Morgana, pick the Maokai. The Kane's low, the Caitlyn's very low. It looks like Shapov Fan Club could wrap it up even right here, or at least get a lot of pressure mid.
They're just so far ahead now, it's so hard for scaling to do anything. They can just dive them under tower and even continue to fish for kills. This is some clown fiesta happening right here as they go for the kills. They are going to be able to get mid lane tower. I do respect that. All 3 members of the bot side of Shapov Fan Club have bounties now. All of them so strong. First inhib goes down as they're working on the second one in the bottom lane. The only hope is to take out Misty Stepbrother. With the way he's playing, there just hasn't been a chance so far.
And it's kind of very funny how in draft you're talking about how Shapov needs to be careful about these 2 assassins because they have 2 immobile backliners, but in both flashes, Jhin flashed after one of the assassins and Senna flashed after the other one, and they both died. Oh, they managed to get the Yasuo here. Could this be the defense that turns the game around? Shapov possibly being a little too aggressive, a little too overconfident here, managing to pick up the Senna as well. It's just the Jhin and the Gragas alive. 3 kills for 1. They are very low. They need to be careful of that Jhin, however. He can just one-shot everybody. He's going.
Not quite taking out Quinn. 1 HP, 4th shot coming up. Ulti's just the Kane. As Pukelord steps up, gonna try to assassinate him, dodges the deadly flourish from the Jhin, gonna step back. Quinn still very low HP, but no gap, no kill, still very much with blood in his eyes. Is able to dodge a knockup on the side, gives the 4th shot to him. Once again, Pukelord able to dodge the 4th deadly flourish, and it looks like it's just gonna be 2 inhibs in a tower, and then a back out for the side of Shapov Fan Club. You reset. You don't have to force too hard. Dragon's going to be coming up in a few minutes. Baron's going to be coming up for a few minutes. It's Soul Point. If they get Baron, it's going to be an easy triple inhib. smart by the side of Shapov Fan Club. Just take it easy, play it slow, no need to cosplay scaling and go over aggressive. Smart plays.
Yeah, and I was just going to say that's kind of been what we've been saying this whole game to scaling, is they need to stop overextending. They got an amazing pick onto the Miss You Step Bro. They managed to turn it into 3 kills, but they needed to recognize that they were all at a quarter HP. Jin was full HP with Gragas there to peel him. And Yasuo coming in from behind, getting a nice Q knockup ult, able to pick the Maokai. The Morgana has to flash away, but he flashes forward and is able to pick the Morgana, going onto the Kayn now, able to possibly kill him too. And it's looking like they could wrap it up right here. Just too much overextension from scaling whenever they were trying to fight back. Once again, they just managed to let Shapov get ahead, and they weren't able to fight from behind well enough. And it looks like they're going to be closing out game 2 right here.
They don't even need the third inhib. They just run them down, hitting them in fountain. Gotta say, story of this game, Miss You Step Bro and Zohair, such a monster on this 2v2 kill matchup, as they're just fishing for kills inside the Nexus, inside the base, as the Nexus finally goes down, and Shapov Fan Club takes a decisive 2-0 victory over Scaling.